So obviously, we started this conversation talking about the unprecedented nature of the news we've seen this week. We've never quite seen anything like this in American history. And Doug, you sit as the CEO of a communications firm. So I'm wondering, what are other communications experts saying about all of this? Everything we've seen. What's your take?
Well, look, it's been a whirlwind, to say the least. On Sunday, I think no one was expecting that announcement by the president. And when it happened, I think people were, at least Democrats, and there was a mix of both sadness and shock. Now there's a lot of excitement within the party, excitement that I don't think we've seen in a long time. I would say that, look, people are wondering what it would mean to have a President Kamala Harris, right? Asking about what her positions are, and wondering sort of who's in her inner circle. What is her message going to be during the rest of the campaign? People are wondering what the convention is going to look like. They're going to have to, the convention's in 3 weeks, right? They had a convention built for Joe Biden. They're going to have to change that, right? And so you have questions about her running mate. And so it's a lot of people are, with Joe Biden, you knew pretty much everything about Joe Biden, right? You knew about his family, he had his running mate. The convention was moving forward the way, with him as the centerpiece. When that all got shook up, I think a lot of people are now wondering, what's it mean to have a Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket? What does she believe? What is she going to fight for? What are the issues? Who's around her? What's the convention going to look like? So it's been interesting. These are crazy times that we live in the last three weeks. Just if you think about the last month since the debate, and it has shook, I think, the entire political world in many different ways. And so I think people are just looking for, especially clients of ours and both, whether it's brands or nonprofits or candidates, are looking for just kind of counsel on, in this uncertain world, how to navigate that. And that's really a lot of what I'm hearing and from clients and from others is just, how do we navigate this, shifting landscape?
I was going to ask also about the down ballot races, and if your phone is ringing off the hook from some of these congressional or Senate candidates who might need extra communication support, because obviously your job campaigning is a little different if the top of the ticket is Joe Biden versus if the top of the ticket is Kamala Harris. So I imagine all of these races, not just the presidential race, all of these campaign managers are perhaps massaging their messaging. Does that mean more work for someone like you?
Yeah, in some places it does. In some places, maybe not so much. But look, you've got to, it's one thing to have Joe Biden at the top of the ticket. It's obviously another thing to have the vice president. So yes, you have to look at, right now, I'll tell you, and it's been literally 4 days. So right now, what I would say is that, campaigns are starting to reassess their contests. There's going to be polling that is done that looks at the vice president in these districts and Senate states, probably testing messages. And so many of the campaigns I work on, though, there's an emphasis on, what that candidate is going to say and do for the voters in that district or in that state. So, the presidential race is important from sort of from an atmospheric standpoint, but so many of these races come down to the individual candidates. And so, we saw in 22, even with with President Biden having, not the greatest of approval ratings, a lot of Democrats in the House and the Senate and governors were able to navigate what was supposed to be a red wave because they were able to define themselves to voters, have a clear message, and voters sort of, I think, segment out what was going on nationally to make a decision on their own local concerns. This is different. We've got a presidential race, and so we have to figure out what's the impact. And quite frankly, anyone who says that they know right now is lying to you. It takes a little while to figure it out. It's going to take a little while to sort out, right? She doesn't have a running mate. That's going to make a difference. We still need a convention. She hasn't aired one ad yet, right? So all of these things have not happened yet. And so that's one reason why I'm optimistic about her ability to grow. I think her ceiling is higher than Donald Trump's. And once all of those tools that are in her toolbox are being used, I expect her to start, I expect this race to be very close, and then I expect her to win.